I found out through a text from my cousin Rachel. Not a call. Not even from Sophie herself. Just, wait, you're not coming to the wedding. I stared at that message for a solid minute. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. But I didn't type anything back. I didn't cry. I didn't call Sophie in a panic. I just sat there on my couch in my Mission District apartment, the one I'd been paying rent on for 6 years while Sophie lived rent-free in the second bedroom. And I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Just this strange, hollow numbness. The wedding was in 3 weeks. Napa Valley. Some vineyard estate that cost more per hour than I made in a month. And apparently, I wasn't invited. Before I go on, where are you listening from? And tell me, honestly, if your little sister excluded you from her wedding after everything you'd done for her, what would you have done? Let me back up. I need you to understand how we got here. Just car accident on Highway 101. One moment they were driving home from Sophie's soccer game. The next moment I was standing in a hospital hallway being told I was an orphan. I had a choice. Let Sophie go into foster care or become her legal guardian. I was 3 months from turning 17, still in high school, working part-time at Jamba Juice. I chose her. Of course I chose her. I dropped out of community college after 1 semester because I couldn't afford tuition and rent and food and everything a growing kid needs. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3. I was a barista at 5 a.m., did data entry from 2 to 10 p.m., and drove for Postmates on weekends. Sophie never went without. She had new shoes for school. She had a laptop for homework. She had birthday parties and pizza nights and all the normal things kids should have. I was 21 when I finally got a decent job. Junior marketing coordinator at a startup in Soma. The pay was better. Not great, but better. I could breathe a little. Sophie was 16 then. I could breathe a little. Sophie was 16 then. Talking about college. Specifically, I worked my way up. Marketing coordinator to senior coordinator to manager to director. I hustled. I networked. I learned everything I could about growth marketing and user acquisition and conversion optimization. By the time I was 28, I was director of marketing at a mid-sized tech company, pulling in a 6-figure salary. And every single dollar I didn't need for rent and food, I put towards Sophie. I paid for her SAT prep, $5,000. I paid for her college applications, the fees, the essay coaches, all of it. When she got into Stanford, I cried, happy tears, proud tears. She'd done it. Then came the bill, $70,000 a year, even with financial aid. We were looking at $40,000 out of pocket annually. I took out loans in my name. I picked up freelance work. I made it happen. Sophie graduated last May. Computer science degree. Job offers from 3 different companies. She chose a tech startup called Vibe. Some social media analytics thing. The salary was decent. Not great, but decent for a new grad. And she met Marcus. Marcus Chen, 27. Founder and CEO of Vibe. Stanford dropout who'd raised $8 million in Series A funding. His parents owned half of Pacific Heights. Old money. Tech money. The kind of wealth that comes with a trust fund and a vacation home in Tahoe. Sophie was smitten. I got it. He was charming, good-looking, successful, and he clearly adored her. They started dating in June. By September, they were living together in his loft in Russian Hill. By December, they were engaged. I was happy for her. I really was. She deserved someone who treated her well. Someone who could give her the life I'd always wanted her to have. The engagement party was at Marcus's parents' house. This massive Victorian in Pacific Heights with Golden Gate Bridge, views and marble everything. I wore my best dress, the black one from Nordstrom Rack that I'd bought for work events. I felt out of place immediately. The other guests were venture capitalists and startup founders, and people who said things like, "Our place in Aspen," without irony. Marcus's mother, Catherine, barely spoke to me. When she did, it was polite but cold, like I was the help. Still, I smiled. I congratulated them. I hugged Sophie. I told her I was so happy for her. That was January. In February, Sophie stopped coming by the apartment as much. She was busy. In February, wedding planning, work, life with Marcus. I understood, or I tried to. In March, I asked her about the wedding, date, venue, that sort of thing. May 17th, she said. At Meadowood in Napa. It's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait. I told her. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. April came. I still hadn't received an invitation. I figured it was just delayed. The mail can be weird. Or maybe she was hand-delivering them. I didn't worry. Then Rachel's text came. April 28th. 3 weeks before the wedding, I called Sophie. It went to voicemail. I texted her. Hey, can we talk? 3 hours later. Kind of busy right now. I waited until the next day. Called again. Voicemail again. Finally, that evening, my phone rang. Sophie's name on the screen. I answered. Hey, Emma. It wasn't Sophie's voice. It was Catherine's. I felt my stomach drop. Mrs. Chen. Sophie's in the shower. She asked me to call you. Her voice was smooth, practiced, like she'd rehearsed this. We need to discuss the wedding. Okay, I said slowly. This is a very important event for our family. High society, politicians, investors, media. We've worked very hard to curate the guest list. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I'm sure you understand that Sophie and Marcus are building a new life together. A life that requires a certain level of sophistication. And while we appreciate everything you've done for Sophie, we feel it would be best if you didn't attend the wedding. The words hit me like a slap. Excuse me. You're a lovely person, Emma. Truly. But you're not quite our crowd. This is a black tie affair. Very formal. Very exclusive. We just don't think you'd be comfortable. My hands were shaking. Does Sophie know you're calling me? Of course. This was a family decision. I hung up. I sat there on my couch. The same couch where Sophie used to do her homework while I made dinner. And I felt that numbness again. Deeper this time. I didn't call back. I didn't text. I just sat there. Around 9 p.m. My phone buzzed. Sophie. I'm sorry about how that went. But Marcus and I have talked about this a lot. And we really think it's better this way. We're building our own life now. Without what? I asked. My voice was flat. Without charity. Without handouts. Marcus's family is really big on independence and self-sufficiency, and I want to show them I can stand on my own. Stand on your own, I repeated. Yeah, you get it. Right. You've always been so strong and independent. I want to be like that too. I almost laughed. Sophie, I have to go. Marcus is calling. Love you. She hung up before I could respond. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about everything. The jobs I'd worked, the loans I'd taken, the sacrifices I'd made, and for what? So she could pretend none of it happened. So she could play at being self-made for her rich boyfriend's family. The next morning, I called my lawyer. His name was David. I'd worked with him before on employment contracts and freelance agreements. He was good, thorough. I need to review some assets. Thorough. What kind of assets? Apartment lease. For starters, see. Here's the thing. When I'd first gotten that good job and upgraded from our crappy studio to a 2-bedroom, I'd signed the lease in my name only. Sophie wasn't 18 yet, and even after she turned 18, I never added her. It was always my apartment. She just lived there. The lease is solely in your name. David confirmed. You can terminate her occupancy with 30 days' notice. And there's something else. I said, a company. 2 years ago, Sophie had this idea for an app. Some social scheduling thing. I thought it was clever. She was still in college, but she was passionate about it. She asked if I wanted to invest. I didn't have much capital, but I believed in her. I put in $25,000. She put in a similar amount from money she'd saved from internships. We formed an LLC. She'd handle the product. I'd handle the business side. The split was 60% me, 40% her. I had controlling interest. We never launched the app. Sophie got busy with school, then with her job at Vibe. The company just sat there, dormant. I'd honestly forgotten about it, until Marcus's company, Vibe, wanted to acquire it. Not for the app itself, for the user research Sophie had done, for the data models, for the intellectual property. The offer came in March. $250,000. Sophie had been excited. This is amazing. We're going to be rich. I'd signed off on preliminary negotiations but told her we needed to finalize everything with lawyers. She'd agreed. We hadn't finalized anything yet. Pull the acquisition documents. I told David, I want to review the terms. Are you thinking of changing something? Maybe. That weekend, I drove to the apartment. Sophie was there, packing some things, moving more stuff to Marcus's place. Henry Nines. She looked surprised to see me. Hey. I set my bag down. We need to talk. If this is about the wedding, it's not. I kept my voice even. Calm. It's about the apartment. She frowned. What about it? I'm selling it. What? You can't sell it. We live here. I live here. You live with Marcus. But I still have stuff here. My room. You have 30 days to remove your belongings. Her face went pale. Emma, what are you doing? I'm downsizing. I don't need a 2-bedroom anymore. Where am I supposed to go? You just told me you're building your own life. Living independently. This is your chance. That's not, I didn't mean, she stopped. Took a breath. Marcus's place is temporary. We're moving after the wedding. I was going to come back here until we found something. That's not going to work for me. Emma, please, don't do this. I looked at her. Really looked at her. This wasn't the little girl I'd raised. This was someone I didn't recognize. You have 30 days. I repeated. I left before she could say anything else. The next week, David called. I've been going through the Vibe acquisition documents. And there's an interesting clause. The payment structure is 50% upfront, 50% over 2 years based on performance metrics. Okay. And as the majority shareholder, okay. I smiled. Tell me more. Here's what I did. I smiled. Instead of selling to Vibe, I sold to their competitor, a company called Pulse. The offer was lower, $200,000 instead of $250,000, but it was all cash up front, and the terms were clear. Majority shareholder receives 80% of the sale price. Minority shareholder receives 20%. Sophie's share went from $100,000 to $40,000. My share went from $150,000 to $160,000. But that wasn't the best part. The best part was that Pulse was Vibe's direct competitor. And part of the acquisition deal was that they got access to all of Sophie's research. The research she'd done while working at Vibe. It wasn't proprietary to Vibe. She'd done it on her own time. Before she was hired, but it was still awkward. Very awkward. Marcus called me. First time we'd ever spoken on the phone. What the hell did you do? His voice was tight, angry. I sold my company. You sold to Pulse. You know they're our biggest competitor. I got the best offer. Sophie's research is in that acquisition. That's going to put her in a really difficult position at work. She should have thought about that before uninviting me to her wedding. Silence. This is insane, he finally said. You're sabotaging her career because of a wedding invitation. I'm making a smart business decision with my assets. Sophie has 40%. She could have voted against the sale. She didn't. Because you didn't tell her about the Pulse offer. I'm the majority shareholder. I don't need her permission. He hung up. 10 minutes later, Sophie called. She was crying. Sophie called. Marcus is furious. His board is furious. They're saying I leaked proprietary information. I could lose my job. You didn't leak anything. The research was yours. But it looks bad. It looks like I was working against the company. The research was yours. Please. Can you cancel the sale? Can you go back to Vibe? No. Why are you doing this? I took a breath, kept my voice steady. You said you wanted independence. You said you didn't want charity or handouts. This is me respecting your wishes. You're 40% owner of a company that just sold. You made $40,000. Congratulations. You did it on your own. That's not what I meant, and you know it. What did you mean, Sophie? You did it on your own. Did you mean you wanted to pretend I don't exist? That I didn't raise you? That I didn't sacrifice everything so you could have the life you have? I never asked you to do that. The words hit harder than I expected. You're right, I said quietly. You didn't ask. I chose to, and now I'm choosing differently. Emma, I hung up. The apartment sold fast. San Francisco real estate always does. I moved to a one-bedroom in the Sunset. Smaller, quieter, no memories. The acquisition closed 2 weeks before the wedding. Sophie tried to call me 6 times that day. I didn't answer. Marcus's mother called too. Catherine. I did answer that one. I was curious. Emma. We need to resolve this situation. What situation? This vendetta you have against Sophie. It's affecting Marcus's company. It's affecting our family. It needs to stop. I don't have a vendetta. I made a business decision. You're being petty. I'm being independent. I thought you valued that. Don't play games with me. I'm not playing anything. Mrs. Chen. You said I wasn't sophisticated enough for your world. You were right. I'm just a girl from the mission who works in marketing. I don't know anything about high society or curated guest lists. I just know how to read contracts and maximize my assets. If you think this will get you an invitation to the wedding, I don't want an invitation. That seemed to surprise her. What? I don't want to go to your wedding. I don't want to watch my sister marry into a family that thinks I'm not good enough. I don't want to smile and pretend everything's fine while you all look down on me. I want nothing to do with any of you. Then why are you doing this? Because I can, I said simply. Because for 16 years, I built a safety net for Sophie. I funded her life. I gave her opportunities. And the moment she didn't need me anymore, she threw me away. So I'm taking back what's mine. The apartment was mine. The company was mine. My time. My money. My sacrifice all mine. And I'm done sharing. Catherine was quiet for a moment. You're going to regret this. Maybe. But it'll be my regret. Not yours. I hung up. The wedding happened without me. I know because Rachel sent me photos. She was still invited. Apparently, marketing directors from the mission aren't sophisticated enough. But dental hygienists from Oakland are fine. The venue looked beautiful. Sophie looked beautiful. Marcus looked happy. I deleted the photos. 3 days after the wedding, Sophie showed up at my new apartment. I don't know how she got the address. Probably from Rachel. I almost didn't answer the door. But I did. She looked tired. No makeup. Hair in a messy bun. Yoga pants and a Stanford sweatshirt. The sweatshirt I'd bought her when she got accepted. Can I come in? She asked. I stepped aside. We sat on opposite ends of my new couch. The apartment was quiet. No sounds of Sophie watching Netflix in her room. No smell of her burning popcorn in the microwave. Just quiet. Marcus and I had a fight, she finally said. I didn't respond. His mom keeps bringing up the pulse thing. She thinks I'm a liability. She's telling Marcus we should postpone the wedding. Sorry. I mean, we already had the wedding. She thinks we should postpone moving in together. Get an annulment maybe. Still nothing from me. And work is awful. Everyone knows about the acquisition. They're treating me like I'm a corporate spy or something. Marcus had to publicly defend me in a company meeting. It was humiliating. Sophie, I know this is my fault. I know I messed up. They're treating me like I'm a corporate spy or something. I know. Her voice cracked. His family is so different. I wanted to fit in. I wanted them to see me as someone who belonged there. Marcus's world is so different from ours. So you erased me. I didn't mean to. She wiped her eyes. Not as the girl who needed her sister to survive. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Emma, can we fix this? I looked at her. This person who I'd fed and clothed and loved for 16 years. Can you forgive me? This person who'd told her rich boyfriend's family that I wasn't good enough. This person who I'd worked myself to exhaustion for. I said slowly. When you were 13 and you wanted to go to that summer camp in Yosemite? She nodded. It cost $1,200. Do you remember? I didn't have it. I took the bus to work for 8 months so you could have that experience. Do you remember that? Yes. Do you remember what you told me when you got back? She was crying now. I said it was the best summer of my life. Yes. You said I was the best sister in the world. Emma, you forgot. Sophie. Or you decided it didn't matter. Either way, the result is the same. I can make this right. Just tell me how. I stood up. I don't think you can. Please. You're all I have. Mom and Dad are gone. You're my only family. Family doesn't uninvite family from weddings because they're not sophisticated enough. I know I was wrong. But please, Emma, Don't give up on me. I walked to the door, opened it. Sophie, I gave 16 years of my life to make sure you had every opportunity I never got. I did that because I loved you. Because you were my baby sister and I wanted the best for you. But love isn't infinite. It's not a well that never runs dry. You have to refill it. You have to nurture it. And you didn't. You drained it and then you threw it away. So what? We're just done. You're just cutting me off. You cut me off first. I'm just accepting it. That's not fair. Fair? I almost laughed. Sophie, I worked 3 jobs while you were in middle school. I didn't date for 5 years because I was too busy making sure you had everything you needed. I took out loans that I'm still paying off so you could go to Stanford. And you repaid me by telling your fiancé's family that you built your life without charity, without handouts. So fine. Let's make that true. Build your life without me. Prove you can do it. Emma. I can't. Yes, you can. You're smart. You're capable. You have a degree from Stanford and a job and a husband. You have everything I worked to give you. You're capable. She was sobbing. Please don't do this. I'm not doing anything. I'm just stopping. I'm stopping the sacrifices. I'm stopping the safety net. I'm stopping the unconditional support. You wanted independence. This is what it looks like. I don't want independence. I want my sister. Your sister was never good enough for your wedding. Remember, I said it quietly, but it landed hard. She flinched. Goodbye, Sophie. Emma. I closed the door. She flinched. Then footsteps. Then nothing. Then nothing. My new couch and my new apartment and my new life. And I heard her crying on the other side for a few minutes. The numbness was gone. In its place was something else. Not quite peace. Not quite closure. But maybe the beginning of both. My phone buzzed. Rachel. I heard Sophie came by. You okay? Yeah, I said. And I meant it. I am. She's really messed up about all this. I know. Are you sure you want to cut her off completely? She's still your sister. Rachel, let me ask you something. If someone told you that you weren't good enough to attend the most important day of their life, that you didn't fit their image, that you were basically an embarrassment, would you forgive that person? Silence. That you didn't fit their image. Rachel finally said, people make mistakes. She's 23, not 13. She knew exactly what she was doing. So that's it. You're just done with her forever. I don't know about forever, but for now, yes. I need to focus on my own life. The life I put on hold for 16 years. What are you going to do? I smiled. Whatever I want. And I did. I took the money from the apartment sale and the company acquisition. And I traveled Portugal, Thailand, Japan. All the places I'd wanted to go but couldn't because I was too busy funding someone else's dreams. I started painting again. Something I'd loved in high school but gave up because there wasn't time. I dated. Actually dated. Not just quick coffee dates between shifts, but real relationships with people who valued me. I lived. Sophie tried to reach out a few times over the next year. Texts mostly. Happy birthday. Thinking of you. Hope you're well. I didn't respond. Then, about 14 months after the wedding, I got a voicemail. Not from Sophie. From Marcus? Emma. It's Marcus. I know we didn't get off on the best foot, and I know a lot of that is my fault. I was an arrogant prick who let my family dictate way too much of my life. Sophie and I are in couples therapy now, and one of the things we're working on is accountability. So I wanted to say I'm sorry for not standing up for you, for allowing my mother to make that phone call, for benefiting from all the sacrifices you made for Sophie while simultaneously looking down on you for not being our kind of people. It was wrong. All of it. I don't expect you to forgive me or Sophie. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what we did. And I'm sorry. I saved the voicemail. Didn't delete it. I see what we did. Just saved it. 2 months after that, Sophie sent an email. Subject line. No expectations. The body was long. Pages long. She talked about therapy. About realizing how much she'd internalized Catherine's classism. About understanding. Didn't respond. What she'd thrown away. She didn't ask me to forgive her. Didn't ask me to call her. Just said, I'm working on being someone worthy of the sister you were to me. I don't know if I'll ever get there. but I'm trying. I read it 3 times. Finally. But I didn't delete it either. Last week, 18 months after the wedding, I ran into Sophie at Whole Foods in Noe Valley. Complete accident. I was buying groceries for a dinner party I was hosting. She was buying ingredients for what looked like a meal kit. We made eye contact across the produce section. She looked different. Thinner, tired. But there was something else too. Something harder, more grown up. She didn't approach me. Just gave me a small nod. Acknowledgement, not expectation. I nodded back. We went our separate ways. That night, Rachel called, NF for Formidagode. Sophie told me she saw you. Yeah. She said you looked happy. I thought about that. My apartment that I loved. My job that challenged me. My friends who valued me. My life that was finally, completely mine. I am happy. I said. My friends who valued me. Completely mine. I know. She wants to know if there's any chance. Marcus's family has been awful to her. The marriage is rocky. Everyone acts like it's this noble thing you owe people. Marcus's family has been awful to her. Good. I'm glad she's growing. But you're still not ready to talk to her. No. She's really working on herself. I didn't have an answer for that. Here's the thing about forgiveness. But you're still not ready to talk to her. No. You're bitter and small and living in the past. But forgiveness isn't something you owe anyone. It's not a debt to be paid. It's a gift. She's been going to therapy twice a week, without obligation. Maybe someday I'll forgive Sophie. Maybe someday I'll be ready to have her back in my life in some capacity. But not today. And gifts are supposed to be given freely. I'm protecting the peace I fought so hard to build. I'm honoring the 16-year-old girl who gave up her youth to raise her sister. I'm respecting the woman I've become in the aftermath of that betrayal. Because here's what I learned. Today, you can love someone and still walk away. You can wish someone well and still keep them at a distance. Family isn't an obligation. It's not a contract that binds you forever, regardless of how you're treated. Family is supposed to be the people who see you, value you, and choose you not in spite of who you are, but because of it. Sophie had a family, me. And she chose her fiancé's family's approval over our bond. Now she has to live with that choice. And I have to live with mine. Last night, Sophie sent me a text. Just one line. I understand if you never want to speak to me again. I just wanted you to know. You were right. About all of it. I'm sorry I had to lose you to figure that out. I stared at that text for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond. To tell her I appreciated the acknowledgement. To tell her I hoped she was okay. But a bigger part of me knew that responding would open a door I'd worked very hard to close. So I did what I've done for 18 months. I didn't respond. I set my phone down. And I went back to living my life. The life that's mine. Finally, completely mine. Sophie wanted independence. She wanted to build her own life without charity or handouts. Finally, completely mine. I gave myself something too. I gave myself permission to stop sacrificing. To stop being the person who gives and gives until there's nothing left. To stop measuring my worth by how much I can endure. People ask me if I regret cutting Sophie off. If I think I was too harsh. If I'm punishing her too severely for one mistake. And here's what I tell them. It wasn't one mistake. It was the culmination of watching someone I'd sacrificed everything for decide that I was an embarrassment. That I wasn't good enough. That my love and sacrifice could be discarded the moment it became inconvenient. You don't come back from that with a simple apology. Maybe you don't come back from it at all. Time will tell. But for now, I'm okay with not knowing. I'm okay with the uncertainty. I'm okay with putting myself first for once. And if that makes me unforgiving or cold or whatever else people want to call it, so be it. I'd rather be unforgiving and whole than accommodating and broken. Sophie made her choice when she uninvited me from her wedding. I made mine when I stopped funding her life. And now we both have to live with the consequences. She wanted to see if she could stand on her own. I guess we'll find out.